Welcome to an expansive life conversation with results architect SANDE GOLGART. Our guest today is Justin Breen. Justin's next book, Epic Journey, will feature an introduction from Dr. Deepak Chopra. The book will be turned into a documentary with star actor Gary Sinise providing the narration. Breen is also co-founder of Corvia.AI, an education platform that teaches participants how to create songs using artificial intelligence. Your journey to realignment from fear to freedom starts now. Live an expansive life.
Wow, amazing. Jason, thank you so much for the intro. Everyone that's tuning in, I feel like we have an unbelievable, amazing treat for everybody in the audience today. My good friend, Justin Breen, who I connected with several years back, hardly recognizable today. I cannot wait for everybody to hear the insights that you've collected on what has been a completely epic journey, which, no coincidence, is the name of your upcoming book. Been surrounded by some amazing people, Richard Branson, Deepak Chopra. Like it just fits the definition to me of an expansive life. And I can't wait, to dive into it. What we're going to do is we get more and more people joining the broadcast. We're going to settle in. We all have very busy lives. We all have challenging relationships with time. So one of the first things we always do is arrive fully, doing a series of box breaths. So I'll go ahead and lead us through 3 box breaths. Everybody who's tuning in, what we're going to do simply, and you can remember this from previous shows, we're going to take an in count of 4, inhaling through the nose. We're going to hold for another 4 count, and we're going to exhale for 8. We'll do 3 of them. And then once we've fully arrived, we'll jump into the insights from Justin's epic journey. So if you want to follow along with me, let's take an inhale through the nose for 2, 3, 4, and then hold 2, 3, 4, and then a big exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Second one in 2, 3, 4, and then hold 2, 3, 4, and then exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one. Let's bring it home with an inhale 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 3, 4, and then one big exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we have officially arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Justin Breen, the author of his new upcoming book, Epic Journey. Justin, so great to connect with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Good breathing exercise, and I love the name of the show, Expansive Life. And I like to know what words mean or where they come from. So I looked up. Expansive comes from Latin expandere, which means to spread out, and then life, which I thought was super interesting. Proto-Indo-European root meaning to stick or adhere, to remain, persevere, and continue. So spread out while you're remaining and persevering. So I think, those are 2 good words together. Good job naming the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
One of the things I co-created this show with a good friend of mine, Joe Jacoby, who is the gold medal winner from the Barcelona Olympics in whitewater canoeing.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have these conversations. And one of the things we loved about expansive life was really 2 things. One is, at first blush, like you mentioned, it feels like it's you expanding, right? It's doing more, creating more, living more.
Mm-hmm.
But what we also quickly realized, and everyone's definition, right, for expansive is different. It could be, I want more freedom. I want more time. I want more harmony.
Yeah.
I want more stuff, right? Everyone has their own definition. But what we quickly realized is that true expansion is when you have the space for everyone else to just be who they are.
Mm.
And that you can't have that unless you've expanded. So once you've expanded, you've made room for the idea that there are 8 billion versions of reality.
Yeah.
Yours isn't the only one.
Mm.
It really puts you in a powerful position to have compassion, empathy,
Yes.
while you are still living your epic life, your expansive life. So
Yeah.
thanks for that
Yeah.
little quick discussion.
Yeah. Show's over. Nothing else needs to be said after that, because that's basically all this other stuff is just a mask over.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone go live your expansive life.
Very
We
simple.
do have some more time to fill. And I know everyone tuning in is super interested to hear the insights that you've gained on your own journey. So if you could take as much time as you would like and walk us through, Justin Breen's epic journey and the things that you've learned along the way. And then I'll check in with a couple of questions, as you're describing and sharing with us.
Interesting format. It's I was before becoming visionary, I was a journalist for 20 years. So spent decades just listening to people, and I'd prefer not to talk unless someone asks me a question. So I'd rather listen. So I appreciate that format of letting the guests talk. That's a good one. But the main I'm 48 in human years, 48 years old. But the main thing I've learned, basically from talking to top visionaries and entrepreneurs and leaders in the sports, entertainment, business world, all of that for basically my whole life, is the main thing I've learned is essentially that the world is a giant broken heart collective of mostly individuals that have broken hearts, and that becomes a projection. What people are building many times is a projection of that broken heart. So, and you touched on this earlier, but essentially, if you're not healing yourself, focused inward first, then it's just projecting outer trauma or outer not healing. And so, going through the last several years and writing this third book, which is purely manifested from something else. I'd take no credit for writing that. It just came from somewhere else. Just learning that process and going through, Dr. Carl Jung called it liminal space. Basically, your ego death while you're alive. So you're basically dying while you're still alive. It's very interesting to experience that and then talk to others who are also experiencing that.
Yeah. It's a fascinating topic. Death in the Western culture is something we hate talking about, that I think we really need to make room for, because it's really everything when it comes down to it. But before we dive into that, you've obviously had a few ego deaths along the way. Can you back up to your time as a journalist and walk us through the story? Give us some insights about what happened, all the way back to that day when you were let go.
Yeah, so that's a good, that's a great point, because essentially that was that experience was another form of ego death. So I'll give you the timeline. February 10th, 2017. I was a journalist working in downtown Chicago, and on February 10th had job salary cut in half. Two other folks were fired that day, but they kept me around. With half salary. So for the next couple of weeks, tried to find a full-time job because I didn't know what entrepreneur world was. So I couldn't find a job. Incorporated April 16th, 2017, 6 days after turning 40 years old, with zero background in building any company. And then over the next 6 weeks, while I worked full-time at half salary, it's easier to say it this way, but reached out to 5,000 people to find first 5 clients. That company was a PR firm. It was more than 5,000 people, but it's just easier to say 5,000 to find 5. And then Boy, was it June 1st? I got the fifth client. June 2nd, resigned from the job, and then June 5th, he's since retired, but Robert Feeder was the top media columnist in the Midwest. So he did a story. I started my own firm. So that was February 10th, 2017 to June 5th, 2017. Yeah.
Wow. And no entrepreneurial experience.
No, none, zero.
Forced into it. I mean, you didn't give the job search a ton of time, couple of weeks, but what was it inside of you that knew this just feels right? Right. Oftentimes it's just your intuition.
Yeah, great. So okay. So this is this is in the next book, but I call it like visionary communication system. So, and this is fine. There's no judgment, but just as an observer, most people think first or overthink everything and never take action. I'm essentially the opposite of that, where if I feel something intuitively is the right thing to do, I will just do it and see what happens. And so after a couple of weeks I really have to think about this now because it's 8 years ago, but after, a couple of weeks of looking for a full-time job, I'm like, at the time I was 40, and it's like, well, society is telling me, or higher power is telling me, I don't really belong in the corporate world anymore, which I never did anyway. I definitely don't belong in that world. And so just following my heart at that time, it led to a very successful first company. And now I'm just following my heart again to see wherever it goes. I have no idea where it's going to go, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the irony that we talked about when we jumped on a couple minutes ago before we started is that's when I met you, was right after you had started. I think it was called BR Epic. And you got us. I was in the corporate world at the time, and you got us signed on as one of your clients, and you introduced and got me on to a number of different podcasts, which ironically, that's where I met David Meltzer. And David Meltzer and I have become really great friends. I had him on the show a few weeks ago, and that kind of kicked off my own journey. Isn't that wild?
Great. Well, thanks. So, so the word business comes from the word bisignus, Latin word bisignus, which means anxiety. So I only bring up that word because that's the human construct most folks are living in. So like I bring it up because like I really don't like running businesses because it's running anxiety. And so for you to tell me of how that worked in terms of what that business actually accomplished for you, I really appreciate it. Like thank you for telling me that. Because I don't think about the business part. I'm just like, just connect people and see what happens. There's nothing past that. There's no like, what is the ROI thing? I've never understood that. Like, I don't. Hey, you're friends with David Meltzer now. Is there an ROI on that? I don't know. So and then I just don't care about the business part of things. So like, for you to tell me that, I really appreciate that. And then, another thing I've learned is life is about serendipitous meetings of the right people at the right time. So that's really what life is about. So, you meet someone and then you see what happens with that introduction or that connection. It's like connecting musical notes. That's another drawing that'll be in the book. It's like connecting. I consider each person like a musical note, and then you just kind of connect them into an orchestra. And then now coincidence, you said it earlier, coincidence means perfect alignment. So when people say it's no coincidence, it actually is a coincidence. They say that wrong because it's perfect alignment. So, and then you just kind of keep meeting people that lead to perfect alignments at the time, which is super interesting to see that play out.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, I have adopted a structure that works incredibly well for me and just freeing myself and remembering how free I actually am. And it is that life will put people and circumstances in front of you really to reveal where you're not free. And as your awareness grows and you become more present, what you realize, everything that you need is all around you. The people that you're meeting, the people you're in conflict with, the people that you're getting on really well with, they're all everything you need.
Yeah.
It's just that we're looking like, well, it must be in the future because I'm taking issue with the way the present is. So you're at BR Epic. You're doing an amazing job, and I love that you brought up the fact that you don't look at it as a business. Some more insight for you as we were looking for this help in expanding our awareness. We just launched a brand new product, and we needed more people to know about it.
Yeah.
We talked in these Vistage groups about what we wanted, and several of the CEOs in there, more than a few, said, you got to talk to Justin, this guy, Justin Breen.
Oh, thanks.
He will connect you with everyone that you need to be connected with. There wasn't any mention about ROI. There wasn't any mention of exactly what you said. So you are living your brand. So congratulations. And that's the reason why we called you. So from there, you're at BR Epic. Walk us through the next series of serendipitous moments, coincidences that kind of unfolded between 2017 and where you are today. Help us connect those dots.
Well, I like to simplify things. Less is more. So, started a second company following the PR firm that was essentially just a connectivity platform, and then if you want to call it a mastermind, which was doing well. My wonderful now ex-wife was running the company. But with our extremely amicable divorce, we essentially don't run the company together now. And so while that company was dissolving, I had finished the manuscript for the next book, Epic Journey, and that should be coming out very soon, which I'm very grateful for that. And then to have Dr. Deepak Chopra do the introduction for that, I'm very grateful for that. And then when it comes out, to have Gary Sinise narrate the documentary that the book's going to be based on. If For folks who have read The Alchemist and or The Little Prince, this book is that but real. It's extremely painful. Basically channeled, or however you want to put it, like an ego death or a liminal space in real time, not even knowing what that was while I was writing it. It was very, very bizarre. But like the 3D version of that is my father was he was 61 when I was born. My father, he'd be 100 and boy, how old would he be now? He'd be 109 now. And then he was a World War II hero. Shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, and he would just get back into another plane. And then I found his war diary from Battle of Hurtgen Forest after he died. He died when I was 13, and then so I followed that war diary to this obscure town in France that I'd never heard of last year, and essentially, without being, too over dramatic, basically found what the meaning of life actually is in this small town in France. So that was an interesting and always will be an interesting experience, completely following heart and intuition to go to France. That was an interesting experience.
Wow. Well, that's quite the cliffhanger, man. You got to tell us what did you find? The secret to life for you.
Well, yeah, thanks. So there's this it's a town called Nancy, France, Nancy, and in the middle of the town there's a famous square, or at least in Europe it's a famous square, Stanislas Square, named after a Polish king. And it's too long of a story to tell here, but in that square, it's like the same thing as a 4-valve chamber of the heart. There's 4 corners to this square. And the square represented an individual's broken heart because the square wasn't connected, just like most human hearts aren't connected to the 4 valves. And so you have blood pouring everywhere in all these broken hearts, and they're not healing themselves. And so that unhealed broken heart is projecting unhealed broken heart everywhere. So that's where you see war and economy issues and politics, educational problems, abuse, trauma. That's really all it is. It's just a broken heart projected.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I subscribe to that 1,000% in a couple of ways. One is that there's nothing wrong with anyone,
No,
including ourselves.
correct.
But if you feel like there is, and we often learn that we have to be something different than exactly who we are to fit in, feel safe, and gain acceptance, we start putting on these veils to pretend just
Yes,
so that we can feel safe.
100%.
Leads everybody, unless they're completely enlightened, to a place where they're judging, criticizing, and shaming other people just so they can feel better about themselves, which comes
Yes,
back to the idea that those people are in your life to show you where you're not free.
yes.
So you're in this square, you had this amazing moment.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Talk to us how you then connected the dots to get into this new business that you're in with songs being generated by AI.
Yeah, right. You just follow, musical notes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for keeping me grounded. I appreciate that. You're a good active listener. So thank you. Finished this book manuscript in May of 2024. And then, and I have no background in any of this stuff at all, but started writing poems, I guess love poems, but, either to other people or to myself. And then one of my friends, who she's connected with top country songwriter, producer in the world. She's like, "Oh, hey, you should start writing songs." I'm like, "Okay, all right, that sounds okay. I'll start doing that." So that was in November of 2024, and then so I just started writing songs. It's kind of similar to writing a journalism article, which I've done thousands of those, but and then for certain people, like I can feel their soul energy, however you want to say that, and then I can listen to things and then write a song pretty quickly. But so started writing song lyrics, and then was at a Thanksgiving party where folks were talking about youth soccer and youth baseball, which is fine, but eventually I get bored with that stuff pretty quickly. So I'm like on my phone. I took one of the song lyrics that I had done and looked for a company where you could make an AI song out of that. I didn't even know you could do that, and I found one called SunoAI.ai, SUNOAI.ai, and then plugged in the lyrics. The song's called Warrior Queen. It's still my favorite song. I love that song, but and then it spit out two versions. The first one was okay, and then the second one, I listened to it and I started crying like in front of all these people at this Thanksgiving party because I'm like, this is like the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It's somehow, I don't know how AI does it, but like it can feel the energy of somebody so strongly, so it made this beautiful song. And then since then, I've made well over 100. And then Corvia.AI, COR means heart, courage, and then Via means path. So heart path. And then my partner Eric and I, it's a songwriting like educational platform where we teach people how to make these songs with AI very quickly. Like it doesn't take long to do it. And we found to really simplify it is that music is like it's like a fast track into your own soul for inner healing, and it's like the first step to like really look in your own mirror. And then you can do it in private, and then you can write songs to yourself or write songs for other people, and it's just a wonderful way of communicating with yourself for inner healing.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's amazing. So, one thing I'd love to dive into, if you're willing to go there
Mm-hmm.
with the audience, in reading a lot of Deepak Chopra's books early on, in my own journey, one of the things I always found fascinating that he would write about is just committing to mastery,
Mm-hmm.
committing to the things that you love,
Yeah.
commit to being a creator.
Yes.
And don't worry about the details. They will
No,
take care of themselves. I
hopefully.
remember Well, according to him, like, you know, you're gonna find these serendipitous moments. You're gonna run into
100%.
people who help you.
Absolutely.
And I remember you and I early on when we had first met, I sent you a couple of, they're called Imagine blocks,
Hmm.
and you were gonna assemble them.
Oh,
And I
ooh.
kept following up with you. I was like, "Hey, Justin, did you get a chance? You know, could you write a quick Google review?" And you disclosed to me. You said, "I don't have that in me. I can't physically sit down and put that thing together."
Nightmare. I'm having nightmares thinking about that even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone who
Ugh.
has that, right, as a part of them, where, you know, the assembly of something like that.
Ugh.
And I hear you talk about all these businesses that you've built. Can you help us understand? Because I think one of the big reasons why people don't go on their epic journey is they're afraid, number one, of who their true self is. They're
100%.
afraid to reveal that.
Yeah.
They're afraid to love all the icky
The
parts,
mask, the shadow.
the
Shadow.
shadow,
Yeah.
but they also feel like maybe they're not enough. And
Yeah.
so as
Hmm.
you were going through, you know, your journey of amazing things, meeting these amazing people, building multiple businesses, but
Yeah.
doing it without someone who's not, admittedly, not a builder.
Right.
How did you do it?
Yeah. So it's a really good question with background. Like, I'd be perfectly fine living in a cave, like separated from society and just writing songs or books. All like I don't. Um, so I have to partner with people that can build things and scale things. So Eric with Corvia, um, he's big into crypto and he's scaled restaurants and other companies, and then he likes doing that. He's good at it. Um, and then, so like, I'm just kind of floating around. If for those who have done an assessment called human design, I'm what's called a manifester. It's very rare, 7% of the population. Manifestors are not really supposed to do quote unquote work. They're supposed to feel something and then talk about it, and then it'll happen. To your point, the details will take care of themselves. So most of the world is some type of a generator or a projector. They need to be invited into something or take the energy from a manifestor and create something out of it. So I have to be around some type of generator or projector to actually build the company. And then being aware of the fact that never ask me to assemble anything in the tactile thing. Like, I'm not going to do it. Like, it's too draining for my energy. But with you talking about Dr. Chopra, either my whole life is uh, following the spiritual laws of success, which the seventh one, which is the law of purpose, law of dharma. Like, everything is purpose, dharma, everything. So to be around people that can help scale that purpose or dharma or whatever the book is, or being on shows like this, or partnering with people like Eric, that's essential for me because, one, I'm not going to do it. Two, I don't care. And that's not where my heart is. It's just not. I've tried to do that. And if my heart's not 100% into something, I won't do it. I just won't.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, because it's robbing you of energy, right? It's taking energy as opposed to fueling you. I think that's one of those things that's so hard for people to get comfortable with. You know, we live in a society that's always projecting back, like, how to be perfect.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, as a child, learned that trying to be perfect was the path, right? You look at
Yeah.
things, the more we get social media and you start seeing stories and you're starting to judge, like, the way someone parents and the way someone behaves and you're trying to say to yourself, I'm going to be more perfect.
Not me.
Yeah, but we're all human. I love, like, the thing that is, like, I'm feeling the most from you is you've fallen in love with the side of yourself that says, like, I won't tactically assemble something. I'll find a generator, a projector, someone who can
Yeah.
do that, and I'll deliver my strengths, which is
Yeah.
the idea, the feeling for what needs to be created in
Yeah.
this world that you describe so beautifully as one giant broken heart.
Yeah.
And if you can heal that heart, by taking what you're amazing at and partnering with other people who are amazing at what they're amazing at.
Yeah.
That seems like it's symbolic of, healing a broken heart at the same time.
Oh, perfect. The the way I look at it is, if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, that's hypocrisy. So, and then with this book and when it comes out and what I experienced, like my heart was broken for sure. But that was the only way to evolve and learn something where I could be that litmus test. And so hopefully the book will help a lot of people. It's very odd because it's not even out yet, but people have read the manuscript, and a couple of people have already gotten tattoos based on the book manuscript, which I thought that's the strangest thing. So it has this weird means following purpose, WYRD, following purpose, destiny. So it's had this weird effect on people that have read it. And obviously it completely changed my life. I mean, if you would have told me that I'd be amicably divorced and not sure, which companies I'm really going to focus on, or that have a book where it's being turned into a movie, I would not have believed that a year and a half ago. But that's what's happened. And again, to go full circle with it, it's all about following that purpose and enduring, expanding this life by learning during these very, very difficult situations, where I think that's where you learn the most, and then consequently help the most people.
Yeah, I mean, as you're describing this, like the vision and what's coming to me is hearing Alan Watts describe when things are so unclear, that's when you know that you're on the path. Like it's so unfamiliar to you. It doesn't seem like there's a direction.
Yeah.
And then that's when it starts to unfold. But I think, again, that's something that most people would be deathly afraid of approaching, because who would want to be in a space where you don't know what's next? But that would be Deepak Chopra's idea. Well, it's not his idea, but he certainly writes about pure potentiality. That's when everything's possible.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. So, as you have navigated these entrepreneurial ventures, life in general, a divorce, and the path hasn't probably appeared to be, all that clear. How did you know how to keep moving forward, to take another step, and in what direction? Like, where did you find guidance? Was it just intuition?
Well, so the direct answer is yes. And then to kind of bridge that direct answer into, like something someone can actually use, there's another great assessment called Gene Keys, Gene, Gene Keys. I think it's genekeys.com. But so I'm bringing that up because with my Gene Keys, there is literally, this is what it says. It says there is no one for me to follow, no mentor, nobody, no one for me to follow. So that's what it says, which I always laugh because I'm a manifester, which you're supposed to create your own energy. And then in another good one is numerology. I'm an 11 life path, which is a master number. That's the master visionary. Carl Jung called 11s wounded healers. Like, they don't care about material things at all for the most part. So that makes sense. So there's no one for me to follow. You have to create own energy through pure intuition and feeling. And then wounded healer, dark night of the soul, don't care about material things. So like, those are assessments that can maybe help people figure out, their inner core, or a way that, I've been operating like this, I just didn't know why. So no, there's no like, I feel like I need to do this, and then see what happens. And then being a manifestors have to tell people how they feel to create peace. And it doesn't matter what that is. Like, if you were in love with someone as a manifestor, you tell them. If you're getting annoyed by them, you tell them. If you don't want to assemble something, you tell the person. So it's and then manifestors have naturally repelling energy, because if I gave this energy to everyone at all times, I would self-destruct. So most manifestors, I guess, behave, if you want to use that word, like I do, and it's very rare to be very, very rare to be a manifestor. So that's why I just kind of float around, because that's literally, that's how I'm designed to be like that.
Yeah, that's so wild. It's really cool to hear how in tune you are with that. One of the systems or sciences that I've um, taken a rather deep dive is Vedic astrology. And it's wild when you really understand yourself and you kind of understand what's meant for you. You understand all the free energy that you can use by being your true self and not fighting against it. And I had this like unbelievable experience several years back when I was surfing in Costa Rica. And I always liked the idea of surfing, but being originally from Denver, Colorado, and then in Seattle, it's not like I'm a surfer. But I love the idea, and I love doing it. Anytime I catch a wave, it just feels like the most amazing thing. But I can remember really wanting to surf, like really chasing, and thinking it was all up to me, that I'm supposed to be the verb, right? Surfing. And I'm just getting pounded wave after wave. And I'm exhausted. I've been out there for about an hour. I'm wanting to have this amazing experience, but it's just not unfolding. And then I had this kind of amazing experience where it felt like I could hear something, but there were no words. I could just feel it. And what I felt was this voice saying, just accept the wave.
Yeah.
It's doing all the work. You don't have to surf. You don't have to do anything. Just stand up and accept the wave. The next set came through, and I just stood up and I rode it all the way to the shore. I went back out. I rode it again. About a dozen waves, one after another. And it was such an amazing life lesson to me that sometimes we're trying so hard to be something, to do something, that we're not paying attention to all the free energy. That if you are aware, you can just stand and let it carry you where it's trying to carry you. So that's been a huge life lesson, for me. Just learn to accept the free energy, go where you're naturally designed to go, and enjoy the heck out of the ride.
Thank you for that. One of my friends, her name's Jane Metcalf. She's the original co-founder of Wired magazine. She's great. And then when I was co-founding this second mastermind that my wonderful ex-wife was running, she spoke to the group. And then one of the quotes, she led her presentation with this, but you can't get knocked down by the wave because you are the ocean. So I thought that was a good, you can't get knocked down by the wave because you are the ocean. So that's kind of sums up what I think you just said. You're your own waves. Yeah.
Right before I heard that voice, I think I would be in direct opposition to that, because I was getting knocked down every time.
Well, that's entrepreneur. I've found that there are four things that separate the people that keep getting knocked down by the waves and then they keep getting back on the surfboard, and the ones that don't. And I'm all into non-duality. We're all one. I get that. I totally appreciate that. But in reality, most people will get knocked down by the wave and not get back. They won't. So here are the four things that I've seen that separate the ones that get back on the board. But one is bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. Two is depression. Three is highest level of anxiety you can imagine. And then four is trauma as a child or young adult. And I have found that those four things, most of the world, those are excuses. And then the ones that get back onto the surfboard, that's their motivation, those four things. So most of the people I talk to, not all, but most of the people I talk to that are not silver spoons, know a lot of silver spoons, but the ones who are not, most of them are all four of those things. There's a few that are three, but most of them are all four. I'm three of the four. The only one I haven't had to worry about is bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. However, to do this book or whatever else I'm on this planet for, I would bankrupt myself to do it. I would never bankrupt my ex-wife or children, but I would myself. And so most people I talk to have been bankrupt multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it, fascinating. Most of the extremely successful people I know, when we're talking, a couple 100 million to $1 billion, they've bankrupted themselves many times.
Many times,
They
yeah.
just don't care.
They don't
They're
care.
like, it doesn't even, it's not even a topic to them
No.
because they don't identify with failure. They're constantly learning and they just know that they're destined for greatness. So they just seem like these minor bumps in the road. A guy like Elon Musk who would say, I've just put all my chips on the table to try and get to Mars. Like, it's just that important.
Right.
Doesn't even care. Like,
Well,
but
why?
it's because he doesn't care and he's so detached that allows him to freely pursue without the fear of failure.
Well, and it's like there's, again, if it's helpful, I wouldn't be surprised if he was this as well. But in human design, I'm a 6-2 manifester. So 6 is role model and 2 is hermit. So that a lot of alone time. But the 6-2 profile, again, it's very rare. It's called the exemplary human. So exemplary means either highest form of good or total disaster. There's no in between. There's no gray. Like, so you either go all in for highest form of good, or it's a total meltdown. As you said, like bankrupting yourself multiple times, going through these extreme waves of trauma. So that's I will risk it all to do this because and then living body death, it really doesn't concern me. I'm far more concerned with creating something that outlives, because really, if you're just here for material things or to create things for yourself, I just don't really believe that. I think I mean, it's fine if you do, that's okay, but I really want to create something that outlives my living body life.
Yeah, I think one of the more helpful, constructs or structures that that I have found and incorporated is really this idea that, again, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anybody else.
No.
We're just here on this amazing playground.
Yeah.
And to me, we're here to remember how free we are. Because we forget. We
Yes.
take on these identities through sometimes child traumas, but also just learning how to fit in, gain acceptance, feel safe. Those create our subconscious beliefs.
Yes.
And then our beliefs become our limitations. So what you believe in actually is the thing that's keeping you from being totally free and your highest form of potential. So it all feels kind of backwards. And one of the things that has become incredibly clear to me is we're all here to emancipate ourselves from everything that has us believing we're anything but completely free, boundless, and limitless beings. And the goal is to be free and enjoy life as much as possible.
Well, okay. So there's I'd love to know your purpose statement or mission statement if you have one, but and then I'm a manifester, so you speak it out loud and then others can take that energy. But so why I'm here currently on this planet is to embody love through my books, music, and rebuilding, shining as a beacon that helps visionaries heal and rise. So I think it's a pretty good purpose. I don't know if there's really anything more important than that, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there is. But so that I'd be interested to hear, what your purpose is. And then it's like, if then you take that and then you do something about it, you actually create books or poems or song companies or whatever, but you actually create something based on that purpose, that's what actually matters.
Yeah. For me, it's really simple. And there's some play on words here, but to me, I'm here to help people alleviate suffering and remember how free they are. We have anxiety and stress is filled it's so prevalent in our society, which is so wild because it's completely made up. So helping people dissolve the idea that they're stressed. Like stress
Mm,
is just a thought, right? Which you then internalize into a feeling.
mm,
Um, but most of the time, it's just made up, right? So helping people dissolve the illusion that they're stressed,
mm.
remember how free they are, and find complete freedom.
Yeah.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are a leader of your home, your
Yeah.
own life,
Yeah.
whatever, you can do it 1,000 times more effectively once you realize and remember how free you are.
Yeah.
You're not worried about other people's opinions. You're not worried about gaining acceptance. You're just simply worried about being yourself
Right.
and following what your heart is telling you is needed.
Yes.
And from that place, you can create, whatever you want.
Mhm.
So that's kind of my life work for the rest of my life, is helping people remember how free they actually are.
Well, that's a good one. And maybe we could combine it. We have we have collaborative purposes, but what I've seen, I guess if you want to call it dating, or people I've wound up caring about whether I was dating them or not, um, from just strictly from a man woman perspective, it's just easier. But I mean, it doesn't really matter what gender, I guess. But what I've seen is from not only being a litmus test, but then just, this is how I spend my conversations talking about things like this. But from a woman perspective, uh, for the most part, have been conditioned over thousands of years to receive abuse, or to be abused, or trauma, mostly from men, but also from women too. I've met a lot of people whose moms abused them over the last year plus. But so it's conditioned at a cellular level. Um, and so when a man comes along, or someone in general who genuinely cares about them, it's confusing, because it's like, well, wait, I'm wired for trauma, literally conditioned for it. And so then from a man perspective, there's nothing more painful than a man who genuinely, unconditionally loves a woman, or whoever it is, and then that's rejected because the other person isn't ready to receive that. They go back into their trauma patterns. So I'm convinced at this point that most of the world's problems are because of those type of relationship things, where people aren't healed themselves, and then because of that, they're attracting wrong romantic partners, or people that have not done the work themselves, and then it just creates this mess, whether it's in the home, whether that trouble's projected into a company or work environment. And so that's why you're seeing all these problems in the world, is because people aren't healed, and then they're attracting other unhealed people, and then they're projecting unhealedness. That's
Yeah.
basically what I've
So that's what led me to incorporate that structure.
right.
Finding freedom, when you realize that every person and every circumstance is just revealing where you're not free. And
100%. And you
showing,
can't fix others. You can't do it.
no, you can't. And so
Not do it.
the ability to love somebody else unconditionally
Yes.
is your own ability to access freedom for yourself, where you're so free, you don't need anybody to be anything other than exactly who they are. And
Exactly.
that's where your partner will feel true safety and the
Yes.
freedom to be themselves. And that's all anyone's dying to do. And, I received this compliment. I was at a retreat in Malibu over the summer,
Okay.
and more than a dozen women had come up to me and said, I've never felt more safe being around a man.
100%. Hell,
Um,
someone finally sees me. It's so great to
yeah.
be seen.
And it was like the best compliment I never knew that I needed, because I had realized that showed me how free I had become. Like I
Oh,
was so
great point.
free that I could allow everyone to be who they are with no pressure to be anything else.
Great point.
And that's when you choose, or you have the ability to choose a partner, not to fill a void in yourself, but to just be who they are. And you love hanging out with them with
Absolutely.
no pressure to change anything
No.
about them. And that's beautiful. That to me is love.
That is eudaimonia. Yeah, that's the ultimate. And that's really, if you just want to boil everything down to one core thing, I think that's really what it comes down to. On a personal belief, I don't think we're meant to be alone in terms of a relationship. It's great if people want to do that type of life. That's amazing. I just personally, I believe we're supposed to be with that right person. And then when you do the work that you're talking about, what I've seen is that when you do more and more inner work and then communicate that, you start to quote unquote attract people that have also done that type of inner work. Like you and I would not have had this conversation. Well, we did not have this type of conversation when we first met because we hadn't done that type of work yet. I mean, maybe we're starting to unconsciously, but certainly not consciously.
Right.
And then so to have this conversation now, that's why you keep riding the wave, where you keep getting back on the board, because then you just keep kind of moving down the river or the current or whatever that is, and you keep evolving. And me personally, you just don't stop. You might slow down to observe more, but you don't stop. Not a full stop.
No, because there's just too much free energy carrying you to your purpose, right? When you're in purpose, why would you ever slow down?
Too much free energy. Yeah, it's right there. That's a good point. Yeah, it's already around you, so might as well just use that energy as a wave, and it's free anyway, and then wherever it goes. So that helps because that lands, because I'm just floating around, so you gave a good structure there. You're like a bridge structure. It's like an energy bridge, what you're talking about, that free energy. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
good.
I think once you realize that um, life is energy,
Hmm.
everything changes, right? So we're nothing more than energy. And when
Correct.
you understand the way energy works, you can understand how humans behave.
Yeah.
And then you understand why they're subconscious. They're really not making decisions. They're just
Hmm.
acting the best they can within the limitations of their own
Absolutely.
subconscious, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And most people don't realize this, but decisions are illusions until you've created the awareness to realize you could do something different.
Yes. Mhm.
And that just blows my mind. Like, I spent 2 years doing a really deep dive. I've talked about it on the show a little bit with Einstein and
Mm.
the theory of relativity. So the theory of relativity would say that time, space, and speed are all relative to the observer.
Yeah.
So his thought experiment, which is really fascinating, was that somebody could be on a high-speed train,
Yeah.
zooming towards the horizon, and see two lightning strikes happen simultaneous
Hmm.
at the exact same time.
Yes.
Somebody fixed at a fixed point on the ground might see those same two lightning strikes one after the other.
Mm.
And when you ask either one, what did you see? One's going to say, I saw it clear as day, those happened at the same time. The other person say, no, they didn't. They happened one after another. I saw it with my own eyes. Well, who's right?
Both are.
Right? They're both right,
Yeah.
which makes room for the idea that there are unlimited versions of reality. And the key to the way you experience life comes down to how you relate to yourself,
Yeah.
other people, and circumstances. And when you can really understand that beyond just the knowledge about the theory of relativity, but embrace it, embody it,
Mm.
you realize the whole key to my life is figuring out how I relate to others, myself, and circumstances. And then lo and behold, you find out, holy shit, like I'm free.
Yeah.
It's just how I'm relating to these things. They're not happening to me,
Yeah.
right? Like you could look at your life and having your salary cut, being forced into the entrepreneurial world and take a victim's mindset. That's how you would relate to it and say, the world's unfair. It's unfolding unfairly to me.
Mm.
But it sounds like, what you've learned is it's not, it's just unfolding. So ride it, don't fight it. That energy's happening. You wouldn't be on this epic journey if you were fighting the corporate world, wondering why it was treating you so unfairly.
Mm. That's an inch. You got me to slow down. I genuinely don't understand excuses. Like, it's confusing to me. from like a genetic thing, my father, like, he was like one of the last few in his unit to survive toward the end of World War II. And then uh, I was, I mean, I wasn't, but grew up in a mafia family where I was hidden as a child. So like, one, that's trauma, but two, like, that's my baseline for like, that's what a normal life is. So like, I don't really understand complaining about everyday things. You just kind of like keep going, and death is part of life. So like, that's not an excuse. So you just keep plowing through it. And then randomness, I don't believe in randomness. Things are just meant to be. My parents met after a drunk driver hit my dad in his late 50s, and the drunk driver was killed. And then my dad woke up and thought my mom was an angel, but it was his night nurse. So she was 27 when I was born, 34-year difference. And then she wanted him to date her mom because they were the same age, but he wanted to have a family. So here I am, and then was born on, I was born on Easter Sunday, that's the only time my birthday, April 10th, has been on an Easter Sunday, which is 1970. And so like, I don't, just how it is, like, it's a bizarre, since day one, I've had a bizarre kind of not normal existence at all.
Yeah, well, hopefully none of us have a normal existence.
I would hope so. Well, I don't understand. So average comes from the word avery, which means damage to a ship or cargo. So like, that's what it means.
Yeah.
Sale, just from sale, which means dull and dirty. So like, religion means to bind, religio. So like, there's all these constructs where we're operating in them, but if you actually take a step back and see what the words mean, I didn't put this one in the book, but family comes from the Latin word familis, which is member of the household staff, servant. So family is essentially like a servitude. That's what it actually means. So well, that's what it means, family. So it's like, and that's a tough one, because you see, in Chinese, there's two characters for family. It's a roof and then the pig. So there's a pig under the roof. That's what the two Chinese characters for family are. So like, but I didn't put that one in the book because I know that would impact negatively a lot of, but that's what family actually is, especially to the women and children. I mean, that's why it was created. So that's what it is.
One thing I'd love to cover really quick, and then get the details on where people can find your book and all that stuff. But the idea of not understanding excuses, or that life is just happening. One thing that I have noticed through my own awareness is so many of us have identified with being a nice person.
You know what nice means?
What is it?
It means stupid. That's what that word means.
Well, you can see it, right? Because as I'm going to explain this, what I'm observing is the idea of identifying as a nice person means that you're trying to be perfectly nice and not embrace the fact that you're human. None of us are nice. We're just human. We all do things that are not generally nice from time to time.
Yeah.
But the ego says, oh no, like, we got to go into fight mode to protect our identity of being nice.
Yeah.
And then you see things happen to people where they won't even give themselves the self-love that it's okay to feel hurt, anger, sad, and they'll suppress that just in trying to be nice and hold space for the person that harmed them.
Right.
And that one is just fascinating to me, because it keeps people stuck in these patterns where they haven't developed the self-respect enough to stand up, set boundaries,
correct,
and respect themselves first, because they're so worried about being nice to everybody else. It's really a fascinating.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest limitations, is identifying as a nice person, which would probably blow people's minds.
Well, so again, if you look at the Latin word necius, which means ignorant or not knowing, foolish or stupid. So that's what the word means. So it's And then again, what I've seen from a relationship standpoint is setting those boundaries and then doing the inner work. It has attracted folks that have done also the same type of inner work with those type of boundaries.
Yeah.
Actually, dating, I would say, is very similar to the surfboard analogy with the waves, or building a company. Very similar. That's why I've reversed engineered it. Like, I've treated dating like building a company. Most people build the company or companies, and they have the foundation. I'm looking at this in the other way. The foundation is yourself. That's the building yourself to attract optimal partner, and then build it from there. That's the way I've looked at it.
Yeah. I've definitely evolved my own thinking there, which is, again, Carl Jung talks about the chosen one. The chosen one is just the person who chooses themselves.
100%.
When you realize you are the chosen one,
Yeah.
you don't need anybody else. Then you will attract the person that you actually want to spend your time with. You choose to. They're not filling any kind of void. Well, Justin, we're at the top of the hour. This has been a fascinating conversation, learning the insights from your, epic journeys. And with your book coming out, how can people, get in contact with you? How can they learn more about your work? And ultimately, where will they be able to find your book?
Yep. So thank you. The book should be out soon. If you want to just follow me on LinkedIn, Justin Breen on LinkedIn, and then I'm happy to send out the manuscript. If people want to read it. And then real quick, so the editing team, I can't really talk about the editing team publicly yet, but it's one of the top publishing, groups in the world. And so it's a funny story because Dr. Chopra's most famous book is probably The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And so the original title of the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success is the 12 Spiritual Laws of Success. So they got rid of five of them. Yeah, right. So, and then so that's what the publishing editing team did to the original manuscript, which is good because it's more accessible for everyone. But anyone wants to connect on LinkedIn, I'm happy to send them the original manuscript.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to get a copy. Can't wait for the book to come out, and I can't wait to continue to follow, your journey and watch how it unfolds with everything that you've got going on. So thank you so much for the time. It's been really a pleasure getting back in touch with you and hearing more of your insights. It's really quite amazing. So congrats to you, and thank you for me and behalf of everybody tuning in for sharing so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks for watching an Expansive Life Conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.